millions of years.
Yes, I'd say there's something dodgy about that. But look, take Robert Jenrick, for example.
I don't know where to go with that, John, I have to say.
Where have I heard that phrase before? Sounds very, very familiar, doesn't it?
We're going to have one next time.
What would we have had?
You're going to love it, Lewis. You're
John,
going to love it, honestly.
Well, maybe I will, but John, what would...
Oh, this amazing LBC call will just absolutely blow your mind. His name is John, and he rung into LBC about why he supports Farage PLC. And as you can tell, Lewis Goodall does know where to go with this conversation.
Did you join Reform, John?
Oh, a year ago.
Right, and what made you do that?
Because I like Nigel Farage and I like their policies.
And what in particular? Which policies do you like?
All of them.
Yes, my friends, all of them. Now, if I was Lewis Goodall, I know what I'd have asked. And I said, well, seeing as though you're fully abreast of all these Refom or Farage PLC policies, at least you can name me at least 3 of them. Because you know them all. Unfortunately, he didn't, sadly.
Like that debate that debate you had with Zia Yusif.
Yeah.
Now, I'll explain why.
Go on.
That debate it was a great debate. I really enjoyed it.
Good.
Now, for those who don't know, Lewis Goodall had Zia Yusif, the water carrier for the extreme racist right. And I found interesting was the fact that he turned up while James O'Brien was on holiday. I wonder why. But Lewis Goodall, I thought he did okay, holding him to account, with these bonehead, stupid joke policies that they have, like stuff on DEI and net zero. I thought he did all right. But what you're about to hear now will absolutely blow your mind.
I would believe him rather than you.
Okay.
And I'll tell you why. This is the problem that the 2 main parties have got. Yeah?
Yeah.
Trust has headed off into the sunset. It's gone.
But
Please believe me.
I don't disbelieve you, John, but then why do you trust Farage and what Zia Yusif was saying? Because honestly, I mean, you can believe him if you like, and that's entirely your prerogative, but I am telling you as a matter of objective fact, we don't spend £7 billion on DEI. We just don't. We just don't.
You say we don't.
It's objectively...
It's a problem, isn't it? When people don't trust you and they trust them,
well, that's like
they're going to lean to them.
Okay, so if Zia Yusif said that Jupiter had exploded, you would believe him, but it hasn't. Objective fact does matter, though, John.
Or you, if you said the sun was going to shine tomorrow.
So you wouldn't...
If Reform said it would, I'd trust them.
So sorry, so let me get this straight. John, let me just focus on that for a second. So if Keir Starmer gets up and says the sun's going to rise tomorrow, you won't believe him?
No.
Even though the sun has risen every day for the past millions of years?
Yes, I'd say there's something dodgy about that. But look, take Robert Jenrick, for example.
I don't know where to go with that, John, I have to say.
I don't blame you, Lewis. And conclusive proof that Farage PLC is a cult. Those that follow Nigel Farage and Farage PLC, they're in a cult. You can lay all the facts in front of these lemmings, just before they're ready to jump off the cliff. That shows that their dear leader is holding them in utter complete contempt and properly leading them right up the garden path. Doesn't matter because they're in a cult. But what he has to say about our honest Bob here shows you just how absolutely bonkers this guy is.
Take Robert Jenrick, for example. Listen to him now. He speaks reform. Everything he says, you'd think Reform voters were going, yeah, go on, Robert. You're fantastic. We're going to be voting for you. Do you know what we say? We say, Robert, if you truly believe that, if you really believe in your heart what you're saying, leave and come and join Reform. Otherwise, jog on. We don't trust you, we don't believe you, and we're not going to vote for you.
No, see, the thing is with that, John, what makes you think that Honest Bob believes anything with any fibre of his heart, anything what he says to be true, or what he says? Let's be honest here. Honest Bob only believes in saying whatever he thinks will get him into power and only benefit Honest Bob. Honest Bob, at the moment, he can smell blood, can't he? It's obvious. And he's gunning for the Tory leadership, nothing else, and will just say anything to get it. And he's just a snivelling weasel of an opportunist, like Nigel Farage. So probably probably fit right in. But but what John has to say about trust here absolutely proves what an absolute cult Farage PLC is. And wait for this famous little buzzword, 3-worded buzzword, and see if you can guess where he's got this one from.
I understand that trust has declined in politics. I understand it's declined in the media. But you would accept, wouldn't you? Let's just try and get to the sort of basics of this. Objective facts do exist. Facts exist, right? You accept that?
Of course they do.
In which case, why would you outsource all of your critical faculties to one man and one party and say, well, I would believe anything that he and they say and never believe what someone else says at any time? Why would you do that?
Because I've told you.
But that's illogical.
It's called trust.
But that's religious. I mean, that's John. That's almost that's religious.
Word,
that's religious. I mean, that's like saying I only trust one church.
Lewis, it's such a small word, but it means so much. We don't like being held in contempt by these politicians. We're not going to stand for it, and they're all going to go. We're going to drain the swamp.
Drain the swamp. Where have I heard that phrase before? Sounds very, very familiar, doesn't it? Can you guess? I think we all know which speeches our Farage cultist here has been watching, don't we? And I think we all know where he's been what he's been watching. But now, this Farage cultist goes proper off the deep end now. Absolutely hilarious.
Nigel Farage will be the next Prime Minister. I promise you.
I'm not saying that you're wrong, John. I'm just trying to understand why it is that as a matter of a blanket policy, you would say that one man must be right about everything and no other man or woman can ever be right about anything. That's just crazy.
I didn't say no other. I just said I would trust them over them.
So you're saying that you would... So is it a matter of trust or is it a matter of saying that those people can never be right?
It's a matter of believing who really has your best interest at heart. That's what it's a matter of.
But so even you wouldn't care if it turned out... Let's just humour me here and say I am right about DEI, which I am. But just humour me.
No, you're not.
Well, okay. Well, let's just humour me for the sake of argument. Let's just imagine that I am. And it turned out that for whatever reason, for political reasons, Farage and Yusif and so on were wrong about it. Maybe they believed it, but they were wrong. It wouldn't bother you that they'd come along and said we can save 7 billion and it turns out we can only save 27 million?
No, I think they'll save more than 27 million.
But how can they when we don't spend more than that?
But that's what you say.
But John, it's not just what I say, it's just a matter of fact. That is what the central government spends on it.
Well, that's a matter of fact according to
7 billion
you,
is a huge amount of money. I mean, that's like kind of 20% of the defence budget. Yeah. You really think we spend that on DEI?
No, I think we spend more than that, and I think it'd be better spent on giving our pensioners a heating allowance and things like that. And can I just say, DDI, yeah, we've got a fantastic candidate elected in Runcorn.
I have absolutely no idea what's that got to do with the latest refut bonehead from Runcorn, DEI. But we soon get to understand why he's brought her up in the subject about DEI. Quite hilarious.
Absolutely first class, incredibly good candidate. Not because she was a woman, or because she was black, or because she was white, because she was the best person for the job.
Yeah, okay.
And that's exactly how it should be.
Nigel Farage, of course, John, famously, Nigel Farage, the thing that Farage is most associated with, and not Reform, but, UKIP and then the Brexit Party were most associated with Brexit. Do you think that Farage was right about everything with regards to Brexit?
Yes, apparently. Yes, she's doing so well, and luckily she's not black as well, for whatever that's got What's that got to do with it? I have no idea. I think it's something to do with DEI nonsense. So, also, she's doing so well, even though she's not done anything in Parliament, as far as I could tell. And as I was watching Parliament back from the first day of recess, I noticed she wasn't there, like the rest of Farage PLC. But we noticed we got onto the conversation about Brexit, and his replies are not only hilarious, but quite, what's the word I'm after? You wouldn't expect anything less from a complete refuck bonehead and a Brextremist nutter.
Absolutely.
Everything?
It was suffocated.
Well, how's the economy doing then? I mean, how's the economy? I mean, we were promised that we'd get all these trade deals and we'd be able to sort of revolutionise the economy and the economy would grow gangbusters. I mean, what happened to all that? He wasn't right about that, was he?
Yes, he was. Lewis,
but he
we've
wasn't.
We've never had a truly Brexit government. But just wait and see.
But
we're going to have one next
what
time
would we have had?
You're going to love it, Lewis. You're
John,
going to love it, honestly.
Well, maybe I will. But John, what would just finally, because I've got to go to the news. What if we'd had a Brexit government? You say we never had a Brexit government, even under Boris Johnson. What would they have done? How would Brexit have been different? How would it have been different? How?
Well, I can't believe you just mentioned Boris Johnson, the man who we elected to stop illegal immigration and cut legal immigration, who tripled it.
But how? I'm
Please
just asking,
don't mention
structurally
him.
speaking, how would Brexit have been different?
It will be different.
But how
You
would it
haven't
have
seen
been different?
anything yet.
Well, how?
You
How?
haven't
How
seen
will
it.
it be different? How? What will we do differently?
Look, all I can say to you is wait until Nigel and Richard and the men and the women of Reform are in Downing Street, and you will see just how different it will be.
But can you just name just one way in which Brexit will be different, John?
Many ways.
Okay.
How can you have a conversation with someone who, when asked, would you believe Keir Starmer, irrespective of whether you're a Labour voter or not, it doesn't really matter on this, but if he said the sun comes up in the morning and Farage cultist John wouldn't believe this irrefutable fact, but if Zia Yusif told him that Jupiter was about to explode and somebody said to him like a friend, John, surely you're not going to fall for that bollocks, are you? You're far too intelligent to fall for that, aren't you, John? And John turns around and says, yes, I do believe that Jupiter is about to explode because a member of Farage PLC said so. What do you say to that? Also, everything else our gullible John had to say, spoken like a true cultist, wasn't it? But what do you guys think? Our John absolutely blew your mind? Let me know down below, and I shall just bid you farewell and take care, my friends.